All right, well, we're gonna be trying out a Raven fitting that I'm not too set on. I don't think I'm going to enjoy it, but it really depends on what kind of engagement I get. So if we were to look at the type of engagements I got yesterday with my Rapid Heavy Missile Raven, you pretty much would notice that things were running me down. And it's more or less always the case in a battleship. Either things are holding range and attacking you from range, or things are running you down and trying to get under your tracking, under your guns. Well, you can't really get under the tracking or under the guns of a Raven, but it's still an issue of things trying to get scramblers onto you. So speed's important. We did see that yesterday. I ran away from cruiser gangs, MWD, MGD'd away, and then MWD'd away from them, kept on pulling range. That's important. Ability to position yourself in a Eve battlefield is the most important thing. Positioning is the number one thing that is going to determine whether a fight is going to be won or lost. You can do everything right in choosing a fight in one ship versus another, but if your positioning is bad, then you're probably going to lose a fight. So what I'm getting at is this ship is slow. I'm not using the double nanos of the other variant that I was using. This is kind of similar to a Typhoon. So instead of the Typhoon's agility and speed, I'm trading that for application. And I think this is a good way to go about a Raven. I say that because I think that with the extra webifier and the target painter, I'm going to do... It's actually doing something different than the Typhoon, so I like that aspect of this fitting. But it's slow. It's just very slow. And I forgot to put drones in it, so let's put some drones in it. Yeah, I hope so, Darwin. I'm glad people are reporting it. Hopefully get nipped in the bud. You like Ravens? I like Ravens too. We can like Ravens together. Hey, Leia. Hopefully we'll get to see some nice missile application once the new missile modules are released. Oh man. I don't know if you've been around when people have been talking about that, Zach, but I'm really not looking forward to it. I'm really not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to the new missile low slots and perhaps mid slots. There's so much room for I guess abuse is the best way to put it. I anticipate being very similar with missiles as to what you see with drones when drone ships were first being rebalanced. When drones were rebalanced, and then drone damage amplifiers were thrown into the game. I don't think they're going to come out in a very good state for balance, and I think they're going to be. It's very possible they're going to be very, very powerful in a very negative way for me, because you're just going to see a bunch of ships that you're not necessarily going to see a whole bunch of ships that are going to be way too powerful, but you have a potential for ships just doing things they normally really shouldn't do. And maybe that's going to be an acceptable shift in the game balance in the meta, and maybe that's fine, but I'm worried about it. It bothers me, I should say. It's probably the best way to put it. It just bothers me. Yeah, Zach, it's like the same thing that when you had drone application bonuses being thrown into the game, is what I'm getting at. And what I mean is, you're playing with a mechanic in the game that's never been played with before. You're giving drones better application. And then you couple that with giving drones the ability to have their damage output increased. Suddenly you have a weapon system that applies, like heavy drones applying perfectly to frigates sort of deal. With just a webifier. That sort of thing. And that's not by design. That's an oversight. And maybe it's something that there was some thought that this might happen, but let's just roll with it and see how it goes. Maybe that's kind of like the opinion of it, of the guys doing the balance. I don't particularly enjoy that. Ham sacrilege with low slots plus a new mod is my thought. Yeah, it really depends. If they take the same sort of direction as tracking enhancers and have like pretty much the low buffs that a tracking enhancer gives, it'd probably be fine. It's going to more affect range than anything else. And if they only add, say, a 10% reduction to explosion radius or 10% increase in explosion velocity, something like that, it should be okay. But if you start looking at kind of rig slot level reductions in explosion radius or increases in explosion velocity, oh man, it's just going to be crazy. Keyboard macros. Do you use any keyboard macros? I notice unlike other MMOs, most people seem to stick with using the mouse and E. Sorry, I didn't mean macros. More like any actions you'd rather do with the keys instead of mouse clicks, like targeting or firing. Oh, yes, I use lots of keyboard shortcuts. A lot of players, for a very long period of time, I believe you couldn't rebind most shortcuts. And then they changed that. But players, for the most part, stuck with old shortcuts. Even now, it's pretty rare to see things like people activating modules without the mouse. Stuff like that. Module shortcuts, as I'm doing right now, is kind of rare. Most players will click down here. They'll click on things to activate them. There are also shortcuts for piloting shortcuts, but the unfortunate truth to my current setup for my hotkeys is that I've bound most of my nearby keys to modules, these guys down here. I don't really have room for things like align, warp, orbit, keep it ranged hotkeys. So it's just something that it's an aspect to of shortcuts that I've neglected. I've kind of let go of. Low slots, this is a kind of a glass cannon fitting Snubbit. It's very similar to many of the other types of battleships I've been flying around in. A little bit of an enhanced resist and the Ansel Armor Repper, which is the mainstay of the tank, and then application and damage modules. Pretty much all my application is in my mid slots. I don't have a rigger rig on here. To fit a heavy cap booster, I had to put on an Ansel current router, which I'm not happy about. But between a target painter and a web, hopefully it's okay. Hey, Ripley. Good to have you. But yeah, it's a weird kind of take on the Raven. It's something that I want to try out just because I want to do something different than the Typhoon. The shield tank Raven I was flying around in yesterday, it's, I think, a pretty good take on a rapid heavy missile launcher fit Raven. It's got good speed. It has things it needs, but I feel like the Typhoon does that fitting better. Whereas this Raven actually does something different than the Typhoon. It actually has way better application as long as I'm in web of fire range than a Typhoon, which I think is important to me if I'm going to be flying these two different ships. Otherwise, I have this nagging thought in the back of my head that why am I not in a Typhoon? Why am I not in a Typhoon? Why am I not in a Typhoon? I would have won that if I was in a Typhoon. Things like that. So the big weakness of the ship is maneuverability and speed. The advantage is that it's going to apply a lot better to smaller targets. But one thing I have noticed about rapid missile ships is that usually the mobility isn't so important. It's more about the lack of killing power against smaller ships. And the double web target painter should help alleviate that. So we'll see how well this works. Lithium, do I only fly battleships? No. I mostly have been flying battlecruisers. It's just recently that I've been trying out a lot more battleships. The big reason that I'm flying a lot more battleships right now, Lithium, is that there is a change to warp speed. They made fitting warp speed rigs a lot less penalized. So I'm now enjoying to fly ships that in the past I really didn't feel were worth flying. Dietrich, I could get a cat, and I'm sure my housemates wouldn't mind having the cat. It's something I've thought about, but it's just I don't think it's something that I'd want to have my own place if I had an animal, I guess is the way I'd put it. Oh, Finn's over here too. Is Finn streaming? Wouldn't an explosion of velocity of the Typhoon be better than the Raven's rate of fire bonus applying to smaller ships? I believe the rate of fire bonus on the Typhoon also affects rapid heavies. Yes, it does. So they both have the same damage bonus. The explosion velocity bonus does not affect heavy missiles, though, on the Typhoon. So only one missile bonus on both the Typhoon and the Raven, which is the rate of fire bonus, affects rapid heavy missile launchers. So they're pretty much the only difference between the ships is the actual ship attributes and the fitting on the ship. At 5 a.m. You know, my alarm clock has been doing a very poor job of waking me up, Vox. So that's something. That's an idea. Do you have a couple of cats, or is it just one cat, Vox? I did insurance, right? Timothy, why didn't you want me to go to Sisade? Out of curiosity. We've had a couple of dudes come in here, not that many. I think just Dan's the only other orange. Hey, fine. It's the Armor Raven, yeah, I talked about it the other day. Giving it a shot. Can you recommend any ECM ships for solo play? ECM ships in general aren't all that popular for solo PvP. I think the best one you're going to have any luck at is going to be the Rook. The Rook can put out a fair bit of damage output and actually have a little bit of a tank while having an ECM module or two. Probably the most important thing is it actually can put out some damage. Really? There's no thingy things here? Let's open one up. Or no, I'm in the wrong view. There you go. Whoops. What about the Arbitrator? Arbitrator is a great ship. It can do a lot of different things, and it can do some solo stuff as well. Coworker was moving and gonna let it go at the park. Gotcha, gotcha. That's good of you. The arbitrator would be awesome if the Vexor did not exist. I guess. It's a lot faster than the Vexor. I don't think it's much faster than the Vexor, Ripley. Maybe you can prove me wrong, but I think they're very close in speed. Lego in the park. Yeah, it's totally irresponsible. It's a good thing the cat actually ran into someone that actually cares about animals. So there's quite a few people in here. A couple of guys waving at me local that I'm not picking up on scan. I've only had an Ares and probably a Link Proteus on scan, so kind of confused as to what people are doing in Cormonan. Hey Bio, how'd the stream go? Yeah, the Vexor can do pretty much anything it damn well pleases. Pretty frustrating. Most Gallente drone ships can do that. Okay, well here's the bug again. And now it's fine. Interesting. It's 5 meters per second faster, so technically I'm right. Not in any meaningful way, though, unfortunately. Is the Vexor Navy issue worth extra is compared to the Vexor? It's a better ship. It's a much better ship. Depending on how you're using the Vexor, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I can't really answer that for you. But it is definitely a very powerful and good ship. I don't think there's much point in trying to bump this Proteus. These guys are active and local. There's probably no PvP going on with them, so I'd imagine this person immediately looked over and saw my Raven. And I just bumped off the fucking station. And it killed absolutely all my velocity. Let's see, am I just going to ricochet off the station? And he's immediately moving back. Yeah, there's no point to bumping this guy. I could shoot him and then force him to dock and dock. I don't really care for that though. I'm looking for a fight. I mean, I could try to force the fight with the guys that own the links. See how far that goes. What's the best way to counter a good drone boat like the Vexor? It's one of the best cruisers, T1 cruisers in the game, so if you're looking at flying another T1 cruiser into it, you're gonna have a really hard time. It depends on how the Vexors fit. But it is the Vexor is the best combat cruiser in the game right now, bar none. You can try to kite it and kill its drones if it's using heavy drones. If it's using medium drones, it's gonna have a lot of backups. But it's a really tough fight. Well, finding a Vexor that's using a Gecko, would be something else, Nord. I have never seen a T1 cruiser use a Gecko. It costs more than a ship. It costs more than a fully fit Vexor by a couple million. Now, Vexor Navy issue, that's a different story. People tend to throw a little bit more money into them, especially since it adds so much more value to the Vexor Navy issue. I love having the wrong target. I love it so much. I just lost a worm kill for it. He's afterburner fit. I might be okay. Nope. 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 I hate that so much. That was my bad. Did a very poor job there. So I wanted the Pilgrim. Then I decide to tackle the worm. Don't put my painter on him. Then I have something else actually selected to my selected items while I see the squiggly selected item in the target locked being something other than what's in my selected item, so I think I'm fine, and I'm not. That was really bad. I fucking hate doing that. I do it all the time. Oh well. I would have had that anyway if I killed them, Nord. It was just really bad piloting. I think a lot of people are in Night Scheme. I think most people are, in fact. Eagle 6, yeah, it might happen. I don't know. I'd like for drone balance in general to get to a better spot, but I doubt. CCP seems intent on adding new content about as much as they are on balancing the game, which is sensible. It makes it's commendable. I mean, I'd really like to see more heavy drones being introduced to the game in a much more balanced state, kind of similar to what you have for heavy drones, maybe even medium variants and light variants. I don't know. I think there's a lot of room for additional content there. I would like to see a little bit more focus and balance on drones, though. Things like maybe slight nerf to drone damage amplifiers. No, Thekla, this isn't from that list. I just was doing a little bit of my own looking around, and I happened upon this artist. It's good to have you, Thekla. Here's a question for you, Vice. Why would you use missile application low slots over drone application low slots on a rattlesnake? Where's the value? I think it really depends on how powerful they make those modules, how much of an application bonus. I almost could care less about the range buffs, but the application bonus is, I think, what's really going to be. It's in my mind right now, whether or not it's going to be ridiculously overpowered or not. Aside from Tech 2 missiles, I think missile range for most part is fine. With missile application guidance comps, oh, so you're anticipating there being a mid slot? Yeah, I mean, if anything, I think the missile, if they had a mid slot, it'd be just absurd. I was under the impression they have not unveiled a mid slot module yet. The mid-slot version is on Sissy. Oh, okay. Fuck that, dude. Oh, man, missiles are gonna be broken for a while. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm legitimately not looking forward to it. Yeah, I can imagine the mid slots adding on something like, I don't know, 30% explosion radius bonus, something like that. Oh god, it's gonna be ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Did see a peak. Yeah, we had a spike into Holo. To have a cruiser game come through here, I'm just gonna avoid the hell out of that. It's basically a free Tech 2 rigger. In relation to what, Vice? Actually, I have a cat gift I'm sitting on. I just didn't actually throw it over. Because I'm bad. And I feel bad. Yeah, Lithium, that's something people been pointing out stealth bombers being ridiculous. Hey, Moomin. I'm assuming they're going to get stacking penalties, so it won't be that OP. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. I mean, the fitting I'm flying in right now, I would put on 2 guidance computers, have them scripted for explosion radius at all times. My heavy missiles probably have an explosion radius of, I don't know, Jesus, 40? Something like that? Something ridiculous? What's their explosion radius right now? 84? Yeah, they probably have an explosion radius of 40. They would apply pretty fucking well to destroyers. As long as I got 1 web on them. It probably apply just about perfectly to a destroyer that has a web on them. It would be ridiculous. So, out of curiosity, has CCP officially announced these modules? Have they put up a thread? Are they talking much about what their plans are for them, what they intend with them, anything like that? Or is this just random module inserted onto Sissy? Just random module. No, I'm not talking about a dev blog, just something on Features on DS forum, something like that. You assume Thursday's 07 show will explain it. Okay. Well, that'd be nice. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm seeing this as being territory that's going to make missile ships absurd. Not necessarily absurdly overwhelming for the meta, but you're just going to have bigger ships killing off smaller ships in droves. and you're probably going to get some weird balance changes to ship bonuses because of it. Maybe ship attributes and ship fitting because of it. Not all that hopeful about it, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't understand this part of a Marpak war space. You see kills, you see people in space, and you never really see them doing anything. You might see a farmer or two. It's kind of weird to me. Captain Craft, I hope that missiles get mods and things for like application. They would get a generic balance nerf for base application. That's the thing, though, is that it's such a fine-tuned thing, missile application. You gotta design it to have some level of good application. Otherwise, it just would not be worthwhile in the first place. Otherwise, you're going to be limited to missile ships that they have must-fit modules. And it stifles player creativity when using those types of ships. You have to have some base level of decent application. But whether something applies well with missiles or doesn't apply well with missiles is such a fine thing. You adjust it just a little bit, and suddenly you'll have a weapon system that goes from applying half its damage to all its damage. Like with one rig slot, or with one webifier. Things like that. Like, one of the most telling things to me when I was looking at missile application is I was flying around a Scorpion Navy issue way back in the day. Pretty much right, I think when they added it into the game. Kind of around that time. And I was looking at running around torpedoes, and I just wanted to see what kind of effects having a webifier onto a ship meant. So I had a friend of mine get in an Armageddon and go full speed, no propulsion module, I think no Trimarks at the time. And the person was flying at, I think, 120 ms, something like that. And my torpedoes did half damage. The velocity above the explosion velocity for the missile was, I think, like 15 or 20 ms above torpedo explosion velocity. You throw in web fire and you do perfect damage at all times. It's like the weirdest fucking thing. This is a ship that this weapon system is designed for, and it goes a couple ms above the explosion velocity, and suddenly I'm doing piss poor damage. Well, I mean, target painters affect everyone in the fleet. I mean, it's still a very valid and powerful form of E-War, Rambo, and it's still going to have a lot of usage and validity, especially for people using missiles. No, it shouldn't. Maybe the low slot application module, Leo, but the mid slot probably not. Frigates just don't really have the slot layout for it. You might maybe see one on like a Condor or a what the hell is it called? The Mortis frigate, Garmer. That's very doubtful. Maybe a Hookbill. It's doubtful though. Yeah, there you go, Thekla. There you go. Well, you added all these Tech 3 destroyers in the game. Now we need things that kill the Tech 3 destroyers. Ha ha! I just don't see how they can add those type of modules into the game without tweaking the missile application formula somehow. Unless they're going to be incredibly weak in how they affect missiles. I mean, one way to do that is to throw explosion radius out the window and only affect explosion velocity, as far as application goes. That would be one way to go about it. Explosion velocity has far less effect than explosion radius for how well missiles apply to a target. It would make it much better for making sure that large-sized missiles don't apply well down to smaller-sized ships. That would probably be the best way to go about trying to introduce this type of module into the game without it being stupefyingly broken. It's still something that you really have to, I think, be very conservative about I'd rather it be a less powerful module and work it towards a more powerful module over the course of a couple of weeks. Adjust it, after, say, 2 to 3 weeks. Keep on doing that, than having the other way around. But I doubt we're going to get that. Finn, I'm not too bothered about the speed changes with the propulsion modules. I'm not too bothered about it at all. I hope this guy doesn't have MGD. Why's my MGD not on? Fuck. Yep, there's the MGD. Okay. Well, good job your way. It's one shitty thing of not having a scrambler. So I couldn't kill him if I wanted to. It's so rare to see battlecruisers and battleships. I don't think it's all that worthwhile to have a scrambler on this fit. I'd rather have better application against smaller ships. Am I not going to warp? Am I going to warp sometime, maybe? Warp, warp, warp. I'd like to warp. Warping would be nice. But I mean, was it necessary, Finn? I don't think so. I think it would be a lot better to add into the game if you didn't have ganglinks as they were. I can't bump this guy effectively. Not from where I'm at. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, Finn. I think they could have held off on the velocity changes until they address ganglinks. I think a link nerf is much more likely than you may believe, Zach. It's going to happen. Just the form that it takes is probably not what players are going to want on either side of on any side of what people think of them or what their opinion is, whether or not they should be in the game. I mean, you've already... If CCP was really that way, Zach, you would have had IS Boxers still be a thing. They want to establish more of a hierarchy change between different tiers. Between Faction, Tech 2, Meta, and Dead Space modules, Eagle. And they felt that the differences in cap use and signature radius and activation, all that stuff, was not enough. And I think that's fine. If speed wasn't already a very hot topic in this game and the fastest ships didn't really need to get faster sort of thing. Hello, bug. I'm 0-4 for the night. I think I'll just try again tomorrow as my day. Have a good one, Darth. You really miss Linux support for Eve? It doesn't pay. CSP is waiting for Brain the Box for just about all things, Rambo. I swear, I hear it mostly from players, a little bit from devs, that we're not going to touch that due to Brain the Box. Brain the Box, Brain the Box. Solution for all things is Brain the Box. Fighting Sleipnir is probably not my best, the best thing I could be doing in this ship. It's like a dick in the box, but different. Because it's a brain. How's it going, Queen? If they make major changes to the engine and when Brain the Box is done, it'll possibly yes, I understand that Night's game. It doesn't make my quality of life any better, though. I kind of wish that they would say more loudly the reasons why. They've done it in some instances. This is why we're not touching this issue, is because we're looking at very soon implementing this Brain the Box thingy. Maybe it's just a broken record. They don't really need to say it. I don't know. They've been in this industry for a very long time. And perhaps they have a better idea of what gets a good response and what doesn't. Tempest. 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 Look at me, I'm Tempest. Shadowcat, it's the time of the day. I think is the biggest issue for me finding fights. This isn't a really good time of the day. And I have been finding fights, they're just fights I don't want to take. With cruiser gangs and what have you, so it's just part of a problem flying by myself, is I can't engage a lot of people. Then I also have the problem of I'm flying in a battleship, and battleships cannot get into these complexes. So this is just not a good ship class for flying around in factional warfare space. It's not ideal for it. It's not optimized for it. So I'm kind of hurting myself here. Why is my ship taking so fucking long to align? This is absurd. I don't have a plate or anything. It just kind of kills me. Marks, yeah. No, I get it. I do understand that. It just bugs me that there's these hot topics and there's no input from CCP. There's no talk from CCP. It's not, hey guys, we're gonna fix it. Hey guys, we're on it. Leo, the Raven is an attack battleship. It does quite well. And the Typhoon I fly doesn't exactly have the best agility. In fact, the Typhoon I fly has a 1600 plate on it. No, Eagle. When they're talking about the attribute system, the way this game looks at if you're in a ship and how the game determines whether or not you're able to fly the ship, or if you're able to use a weapon system, or you're able to move at a certain speed, it looks at all your skills. It looks at everything. And it does this constantly. It does this, I think, every server tick. And it does this for every player in a system. It's very inefficient. So what they're looking at doing is changing the way that EVE Online make sure that everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing and optimizing it. So now here's something frustrating. I refit. The Brutix is gone. Looks like the fight is gone. I don't even have the Brutix on scan anymore. In fact, I have a Machariel on scan. Which is probably, Ripley. I can't really deal with the Machariel all that well. And I also don't have a long point anymore. Which is fun. So I wanted to deal with the Brutix. And the Brutix is gone. Ah, I missed the MJD a little bit. Oh no, he started burning back the other way. Good for you. 2 Vexers and how many exec? Just a single exec cabin? One Blackbird? Oh my gosh, this close fight. Oh wow. Nice one. I wish I had a long point, 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 long point, long point. Fuck you, goddammit. MJD's still on cooldown too. I'm refitting for that goddamn long point. Such a frustrating experience is counterfitting for someone and that's someone leaving. You know the moment I do this, I'm gonna see a battle like a battlecruiser or a battleship. I'm gonna want a scrambler. It's gonna happen. Well, you can't lie to Sino in an outpost like that, but I'm pretty sure there's quite a few dead terrorists in the system anyway. Maybe not. Yeah, there's already quite a few dead terrorists in here. Yeah, no, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Cameron, are you drunk? I should drop those off. Is there really a Brutix on D-Scan now? fuck me. Let me just drop a web of fire. It's so funny. Is he going to be at large? Oh my god. Uh. There's too much CCR for me to hear you. I don't know what CCR is, but okay. With dual web and a heavy nuke, it's mostly the heavy nuke that's going to be killing stuff, killing smaller ships. It's going to be turning off prop mods. It's going to be turning off tanks. That's what's really going to make rapid heavies do anything. The webs, like having having a target painter, it's going to help loads. Don't get me wrong, but it's mostly the neutralizing power that really is going to allow me to affect some damage on the smaller ships. Oh, I just realized I no longer have my drone effects as well. That's not good. That's really not good. That's a lot of my tank and application gone. Norwegian, yes, all battleships 5. Hi, Squeebs. How's it going? Shuttle Sword 13. Nice. Oh, Doterra's just low. That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, the only subcaps I don't really have trained up is Black Ops. I think that's the only type of subcap I don't have trained up. As far as combat related stuff. Okay, Mr. Target Painter, you're going the way of the dodo. Oh, man, doesn't it want to get you to get into yoga? I know, it makes me want to get into yoga. I wish I was that flexible. I do not have Blops trained, no. Also, I think I have the bomb skill trained to like 3 or something. I have absolutely no desire to do that type of PvP. Doesn't really do anything for me. Oh, where'd the Brutix go? Guys! Guys, where'd the Brutix go? It's like he's afraid of me. This is just thrilling. Someone feed this man a Brutix. I tried to fight the guy. I'm pretty sure it's the same Brutix. He's probably watching the stream. It's a little bit frustrating. Just a little bit frustrating. I know, Beast of Bitch. It's the ultimate stream snipe. Give me a little bit of bait and then just keep on fucking with me. Wasting my time. Hot dropping with carriers is pretty fun. The problem that I have with that is it's so one-sided. It's the exact same thing as Blops dropping. It's exact... You know, just about all bridging is an entirely one-sided affair. I have no desire to engage in that type of PvP. I don't think it's interesting. I don't think it's fun. There's no challenge to it. The only challenge to application of force like that is just actually setting up a gank. And that can be interesting. That can be intriguing. That can be fun. And honestly, ganking people that are like really risk averse is also pretty cool, and I feel that's rewarding in and of itself. But I still don't. I'm not going to train up for a blob ship. It's not my style. Swiggity Swidix, I'm coming for ya, Brutix. There you go, Squeebs. I'm surprised that Squeebles doesn't come on to stream chats more often from bars. It seems like a very Squeebles thing to do. Someone buy you a gym membership, Thekla. Azure activity on the map is probably going to be Dead Terrace. Dead Terrace have already shown a gang that I just can't deal with. In the form of Devil Executor gang with a Brutix. Sorry, not Brutix. With a Blackbird. It's very doubtful that I'm going to find anything in Azure, but the map does show someone, so I'm going to head in that direction. Yeah, it was probably Dead Terrace. Probably Dead Terrace in here. And now I want to play Pokemon? What brought that on, Vice? Damn you to Hades, Matador! Why you gotta be that way? I have only one recourse. One path I can take to counter this effort. Gyms and gym memberships. I see, gotcha. This is the only way I can fight back. It's the only way. Squeebles, if you legitimately type that out with a phone, that is something else. I'm beyond impressed. Matador ass does look like Squeeble ass. Maybe there's a relation, Kevin. Maybe they're in fact the same person. Squibbles, I got your back, dude. I'm with you, man. That's impressive. I know you can't hear this, but I'm with you. 2 thumbs up. Good job. And so it begins. Ah, the whole tank! That's a really weak whole tank. Oh, man. Boosh. Good fight, sir. What was that tank? Was that, like, just full gank? Is that a lack of Tech 2 rigs? Why did the whole tank crumble? Surely not a... No, that's, like, exactly my fit. He just didn't have Tech 2 rigs. Holy shit, I actually do pretty good damage output. I really don't understand why he crumbled. I don't think he turned on his damage control. Oh my god, he didn't activate his damage control. I know, there's no way for me to nuke the DCU off. He just legitimately did not turn on the damage control. Yes, it's Matador 34, not 84, 34. No, but I literally don't have the amount of damage in my heavy missiles to kill a battle cruiser. I hardly have the damage to kill even a T1 cruiser, and that's if the T1 cruiser doesn't buffer fit. If he had his damage control on, he probably would have won that. I mean, I was pulling away from his damage range, but it would have been a close thing. Absolutely, Leo. And I think I'd like to think that Manator got a decent fight. If he had damage control on, I think he would have taken that engagement. props, you know. It's fucking annoying that someone comes out with a MJD fit when I only have a long point. That's a fault in my fit. It's something that I've been running around with a lot of these gank battleships with heavy newts. For dealing with cruisers and smaller, it's brilliant to have a long point that goes out to your heavy newt range. For dealing with battle cruisers and up, it sucks, because any person worth their salt with their fitting is going to have an MJD fit to it. What's the woman, the video for? Oh, there's a cat on it. It's Cat Cave. Kitty. It's proving that cats can do yoga too. I think that should be enough for the reps. Maybe one more cycle. I'm happy with that amount of HP. Very happy with that amount of HP. Nice one, Rambo. Still hearing birds. I don't know, Thekla, what kind of bird is it? That would be nice, 12. I wouldn't mind it. Maybe when I get into Dodixie I'll mind it, but until then, I'm quite happy getting engaged in high sec. It's only in Dodixie that I'm really expecting to see people with a whole bunch of neutral R and an actual respectable PvP gang with a whole bunch of money invested into it. Sounds like an ostrich! I don't know what an ostrich sounds like. I imagine it'd be terrifying. Devil, it is not necessarily easy. Learning things in it isn't, I would say it isn't all that hard, but there's just a huge amount of information. There's a huge amount of knowledge that you pretty much have to take on. Your first couple of weeks of playing this game is just going to be learning the basics of the game. So it's not something you pick up very quickly. Unless you're really, unless you're pretty good with the game, with game systems like this, with MMOs, with RPGs, with learning game mechanics, then you might pick it up quick. But typically for new players, it takes a couple of weeks just to learn the basics, then maybe a couple months to kind of get into the more groove of the game and learn more advanced stuff and get a good feel for what's possible in the game. Nice one, card. The funny thing is, it's 4:15 here, and you're pretty much exactly the same bird sounds coming from outside. Nice one, Ty. Type, where are you based out of? It's good to have you. I don't know what this is doing to your sleep schedule. Hopefully you're you worked nights or something, but it's good to have you. I just closed the window and starting to get worried about bird sounds. Oh man, that would be a really good troll. It's just playing like ambient stuff. Man, that's actually a really fucking good idea. That'd be a really good way to troll the viewers. I like it. Netherlands, fantastic. That's a perfect roll. Because the exile penalty does not exist. It's a bug. So that's a perfect roll. Send you this album by a guy who makes techno music but is also a forest ranger, so half the album is bird sounds and him talking factoids about it. Sounds awesome. Alright, see you, Zach. Sorry, if you had to make a new character and you had it has all of your current skills, how long would it take you to train a new guy up to your current level? Probably about. Well, let's do the math here. That's almost we're just past that date. So 9 years. It would have taken 9 years. There's a little bit of SP that I put into industry. There's a little bit of SP that I put into market stuff. There's a little bit of SP I put into science and research stuff. There's some things that you could change and drop out, and it wouldn't necessarily take you that long. And I did have taken some breaks over the years. Not that many, though. I've more or less played since I started playing consistently. You could probably take off a year, and then maybe you can shave off a couple of months, maybe 6 months or so if you had really good top-end implants. But it would take a while to catch up to where I'm at. Yeah, I saw that. Thecla. What am I training right now? I believe I'm training nanite nanite interfacing to 5, which is something that reduces the consumption of nanite paste. One of these skills reduces consumption, one of them improves the amount of repair. Forgot which is which. Let's see here. Nanite interfacing, 20% increase in damage module repair amount. And I've already done the one that reduces consumption. Yeah, I realized that it was playing like a whole bunch of bird songs. So, moving on. It makes me sad that my tune is 07 and I only have 50 million SP. I took 4 years off in the middle. You know what high amounts of SP affords you, House? it gives you the option of flying other stuff. It gives you more variety. And I love that. It's one of the things that keeps me playing, is having that variety. But one of the things that kept me playing back in the day was working with what you got when you had it's like being a cook with a limited amount of food to work with. You have to be creative, which is cool. It's nice. And it's also really fun and rewarding to cross-train into other races, then try out all the stuff you haven't been able to fly, and maybe you've flown with people flying those types of ships. It's pretty cool. So I think the road to get to where I'm at is very fun. And when you get to where I'm at, it's also very fun in a different way. Hey, Lizard. And 6 days away from Black Ops. Congratulations, Burnout. You know, what's kind of crazy to me, Cardsin, is that Dalpa's been playing for that long, and for the type of stuff he does, it blows my mind he still plays this game. Dalpa's an interesting guy. I mean, he really found his niche. He really found his game, I think. My PvP skills depreciate exponentially with the amount of beer consumed. Oh man. For me, it's kind of they stay even, they stay level for a bit. The thing that really drops down, I guess you could say, my skill is that your inhibitions, you get a lot more fuck it moments, and you'll engage things maybe you shouldn't be engaging after a couple of beers, and then you just start losing, fine motor control and all that sort of shit. Then it goes to hell. But it's more just inhibition. I'm a lot more impatient and a lot more aggressive. When it comes to industry, there's no better game right now. I don't know about that. Hey, Grim Chaos. Yeah, we're streaming right now. This game is the best for industry and market gaming. Yeah, I can see that. I do think there are some pretty good alternatives out there for industry stuff, but I guess if you're looking for industry that actually affects other people, Eve's probably it. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, Thekla, I'm right there with you. The material gathering in this game, mining and moon mining and salvaging all that stuff, the game could really use some updates in that regard, some overhaul of game mechanics. Some of the worst gameplay in this game can be found in acquiring material, moving material from point A to point B. Vox, as I understand it, completely skip Fallout 3 and play New Vegas. New Vegas is just a better game. It's also more stable. I have a couple of friends that played Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, and it's just a better game. But evidently the stream is saying otherwise, so what do I know? Factorio, yep. Yeah, I agree, Eagle. It's a pretty cool game, but it's different. I watched a stream in Factorio for I think a solid 3 hours. It's a pretty interesting game. Wow, that's a lot of people saying they like Fallout 3 better. That's really curious to me. I've had a couple people that have played the shit out of Fallout, and they said they preferred New Vegas. It's like two people, but I'm surprised that so many people right now are saying otherwise. I mean, I played Fallout 3, and I picked up New Vegas, and I still haven't played New Vegas yet. I've had no desire to. Addicted to Stalker? Nice. That's a game I really want to play. I played Metro 2033, and I thoroughly enjoyed that game. And Stalker looked like a good alternative to that. Fallout New Vegas was so bugged. It was good, but it was bugged to hell. Oh, that's disconcerting. Or that's, yeah. Disconcerting. Why did I say it? It's just concerning. Disconcerting. That's what I was thinking of. Haven't had enough coffee today, I guess. This looks really quiet in here. Stop it. Set that away. I don't even need the map for that. Who am I kidding? Stalker is very different from Metro. I expect that. I do expect that. I'm okay with that. Fallout 2 is the best Fallout. That's another game I have not played yet. I've played Fallout 1. I enjoyed it. I have not finished it. I'm okay with that. I could see myself playing through it to the end. I think Fallout 2 sounds like a game that I'd enjoy more, though. It seems a lot more refined. A lot more content to it. Original Stalker annoyed me after a while with some bugs and constantly respawning enemies. Never did the first reactor bit. No idea what that means. I'm not gonna ask for more. So are you better prepared for some premium bugs and crashes desktop? Oh, fantastic. That's something I don't really want to be hearing. Yeah, you just went through a mission. Cool. Good for you. I recommend playing the Stalker Lost Alpha mod to the original games. It's basically what Stalker should have been, really. Okay. Is the Alpha mod for the original Stalker? I mean, there's a couple of different Stalker games. I wanted to like that game. I wanted to like Jupiter Instant so fucking much. Did I not go to the sun? How do you screw that up? I thought I warped to the sun. How the hell is it? It's a standalone mod based on the Stalker engine. Okay. Yes, Nexus UI in incredibly dynamic and challenging gameplay has bested me. That's for damn sure. It's superior to the Stalker games in most ways. Okay. Interesting. I don't know. If you could link that, I guess I'll give it a go at some point soon, probably. I've been intending to play that game. Fuck! Fuck! This is why you never use jump to warp to fucking gates. That's it, right there. You don't do it. You always warp to gates. Then you hit the jump button. It doesn't matter if I have 2 warp speed at this point. I'm like a minute behind. I always ult space when in warp to not get that. Yeah, you have to think about that though. I normally don't just use jump commands. It's just because I've been getting absolutely fuck all for content. I've gotten lazy and just started going gate to gate jumping. If I'd remembered that I'd used that command, then I would have controlled space, but I've been pretty good with not doing that lately. Not on scan. I think he's out of system. We'll jump into Hades. That Rook is probably on the other side of the system by now. Yep, there he is. Hmm. What would be the philosophy behind fitting an Astero up for solo PvP and novices for the lulz? I'm thinking about trying it. The philosophy? Probably cloaking and then ganking people? I mean, if you're asking for fits, there's a number of ways to go about fitting an Astero for solo PvP. Primarily either dual rep or single rep with a couple of drone damage amps. I haven't been getting fights, that's why it's still alive. This guy's not a POS? No. What ships would an Astero choose to fight and not fight? You pretty much choose to fight anything you can get a scrambler on. It's a very powerful ship. Reactor, I was just in Minotaur Mars space. It was dreadfully dead. The only thing going through there was one or two 10-man gangs. Just nothing I could really deal with. I want to get a fight with this Roke and friends. I think he's at a POS or something. I don't think it's going to happen. I probably should just move on at this point. I guess I can also go to the station and see if I can bump him off or something stupid. Oh, Conti guys. It starts music or my PC stack noises. It's his music. It says a lot about the kind of music I'm listening to. You don't need a dual rep, but it's a very strong fitting. Also, a pretty powerful tactic with a Astero like that is just sitting cloaked right next to a Plex farmer and wait for someone to go for the farmer. But you can be a lot more aggressive with it. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. Double rep ensures a win? Not at all. Not at all. I mean, it has the low and mid slots for it, though. It's a very strong fit. And I think it is the stronger of all fits for the Stero for solo PvP. Honestly, I haven't flown the ship much, though. I don't have a lot of experience with, like, SAR, maybe buffer tanks, things like that. So I'm not... The only thing I really have experience with is fighting them. And the strongest fits I've ever flown against are door-up fits. Yeah, it is safer against newts, absolutely, Queenie. I mean, if I need a wormhole to nullsec, yeah, be something. I don't know. It depends on the nullsec. You got a project going on. New Bros solo PvP training channel. Oh, you just start this up, Darth? Oh, fun. This is where I wish I had a target painter. No, I need to make up my mind with those mids, Thekla. I wanted to swap in the Scram, but I just have not done it. I just made an account, it spawned me in that, and I don't know how to get to the tutorials. Frankly, I'm not sure how to get to the tutorials either. There's a couple people that I'm playing right now that have done the new player experience stuff, so they should be able to point you towards that. CSP's been overhauling the new player experience a fair bit, so I'm not really sure what they've done with that, unfortunately. I think what I call the tutorials are actually career agents, and I'm not really sure where they would be in relation to you. I think he jumped. Did he jump? He jumped. No, Land, I don't have snakes, and I don't have links, and I don't have a nano fit, so it's very difficult for me to bump a ship off a gate. I did have a decent fitting for dealing with that particular Loki, given that it was an afterburner fitting, but even then, it's stupid hard to bump a ship off if you don't have like a ship that's dedicated to bumping, or say a Minmatar battleship. Um, it also depends on the type of ship land. I mean, one nice thing about bumping afterburning cruisers and things with a propulsion module on is that when you bump them, they have a lot more momentum, and it's harder for them to turn back around. But it's more of a boon in their part because they're able to reapproach the gate. Of course, there's a station here, so the guy probably warped his links to a station at this point. I had the Loki on scan for a moment. I no longer have it on scan. Which probably means he warped to the station. I wish people were more proactive about dealing with people with lazy links. It seems to be everyone's just content of having their links orbiting a gate and then fighting with links versus actually shooting them. Yeah, there's the link alt. Or not. Leo, that's not even the case at all. If people understand Crime Watch system, then that would not be a problem. All you have to do is shoot it, warp off, warp back, and then you can shoot the link alt anywhere in low sec for the next 15 minutes as long as you have the suspect timer for shooting that target. Thoughts on the Caldari Tech 3 Destroyer? It's killable. I like it. It seems balanced. It's a hell of a lot more balance coming out than any of the other Tech 3 destroyers. It has the potential for just an absurd tank, but I think that's its best redeeming quality is its tanking potential. But I have no interest in flying those types of ships, so I have not flown it. I don't have it from the pilot's perspective, just a combatant's perspective. Who cares about 6 days? I definitely do. It affects whether or not I'm a legal target on stations and gates, and whether or not I'm going to get sentry help for bigger gangs fighting me. I hate taking security stays hits. Uh, yeah, I mean, in the small ship, you can't really bump them off the gate. I understand that, Leo. It does suck. I totally agree with you there. It's just, it's cost versus, risk versus reward, cost benefit. It's probably not worth it. Seapool's running a SIVO. Yeah, I know, Rector. No, my general rule of thumb is if I'm not able to deal with ECM ship, like a Blackbird or a Falcon, I just move on. It's not worth it. On top of that, they have a scythe. It's just not worth it. It's not worth the hassle. Which is unfortunate, because that's probably one of my better chances of a decent fight right there. Hey, how's it going, Whoopley? Yeah, there you go, Rambo. Just sniping him. It's also pretty easy. I would think it's easy to just get a friend or two in a tornado. Like, it only takes 2 to 3 tornadoes. 2 tornadoes will volley a Tech 3 booster with no tank. 3 tornadoes makes it a surefire thing as long as you all land your hits. 4 tornadoes is pretty much hitting, killing any 6-link command ship. Pretty much killing it outright. What's the low slots in armor tank? There's no nanos. It's actually a very... This is a highly experimental fit. I shouldn't have the scram on at 1. I just passed that. Sure there would be 1 in Tama. Of course not. Why would there be? I've seen FOF missiles in PvP for God knows how long. They're very buggy, Chase. They don't... The code for them is a nightmare, as I've been told by developers. They don't function well at all. They're not reliable. So, for the most part, players avoid them. Yeah, Night Scheme, there's a lot that was poorly done there. Red Moon Rising aggressive drones, not that bad. Not quite that bad. If I run into a BC or BS that MGD's away from me, I'm not going to be happy. I would not be happy in the slightest. Nice, Nick, nice. I know, right, Night Scheme? It is hard to believe. I don't think drones were ever really bad. It just they weren't an individual weapon system. Pretty much any ship that used drones was not a dedicated drone ship. There's very few dedicated drone ships. Dominix's had a blaster bonus. Vexor's still had a blaster bonus. Tristan was not a drone ship. Arbitrator and the Curse were arguably the only dedicated drone ships. And they did pretty good. Yes, now the Dominix is purely a drone ship. The Ishtar is purely a drone ship. Ishtar in the past, I believe, had a blaster bonus, and they got rid of that. The EOS, it had a drone. I believe it had drone damage. It wasn't purely a drone ship, though. The Dominix right now is only a drone ship. In the past, it had a blaster bonus. There's a lot of things warping off today that I can't get lock on because I'm into the battleship. That's been a large frustration. It's more of a frustration than many of the things I've been dealing with today. Still in the Raven, Shaggy. It hasn't died yet. Whatever reason. You still have that wonderful ability of, I believe, still all Tech 3 destroyers to insta-warp. It's a great feature to have in the game. That shouldn't be a thing. It's a joke. Yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit bitter. Just a little bit. Tad. Salt. Saltgate. There's quite a few people here. Why fly Raven to a Tech 3 destroyer? I don't like Tech 3 destroyers. Oh, assault frigates, why would you fly that compared to a Tech 3 destroyer? That is a very good question. There's absolutely no reason to. The only thing I can imagine is you don't have the skill for it. It's a very easy ship to skill into. And he starts moving towards me. Fantastic. I'm surprised Exodus isn't shooting me right now. Who is shooting who? This, by the way, is the exact opposite damage type I don't want to be shooting at with a curse with. Kinda sucks. You see him drones, huh? Shoot! And don't warp! No! I want you to kill my pod! Oh well. Ah, yeah, they must be Tech 1 Merlins for sure. Yeah. No, some of them were. Most of them were. Epic drones. I got the curse. That was nice. Shooting, killing a curse with explosive ammo, that is surprising to me. Almost MGD'd out. That also is pretty cool. Slow boating? No. No, we don't do that. There's a Calico in the corner. I wanted to get scrams off me. I almost got all the scrams off me. If I gotten all the scrams off me, I would have MGD'd. I tried to MGD out. Unfortunately, a Merlin decided to activate a scrambler on me, and then I could not MGD. The ECM, yeah, that definitely, I think, won them the fight. Just losing my lock occasionally, that was too much. Be right back, guys. That was a decent fight. Really wasn't expecting it. Need a golem for that fight? No, not really. Anything other than... Honestly, the shield tank fit I had would have been more of a sustained tank. That would have worked out. But the web and if I had a target painter, that would help. But it ended up being a very good idea to have ECM for that, or ECCM for that fight. You want to look at the Raven picture? You can also check out my kill board. If you just Google Sardcade kill board, you will find all this information. I don't necessarily think this is a very strong fit. I think the Shield Tank Raven is a better way to go about it. It feels that whenever I'm in an RML ship that I MGD onto something, I heavy nude it, I tackle it, and then it's just a matter of me applying my damage and trying to kill a cruiser or trying to kill a couple of frigates or something. And the time it takes for them to get a gang to then overwhelm me. So I feel that having a whole bunch of application mods in the form of stasis webs and target painter and maybe a rigger rig is really powerful. It's not necessarily all that important, I feel like, for how these ships tend to fly, to have a lot of mobility. It's really hit and miss, though. I mean, that's battleship combat in general. You're going to be going up against a lot of things that are going to be way more mobile than you. It's really just a matter of you heavy nuding things and then turning off the propulsion and running them down, or having a whole bunch of stuff overwhelm you, but having the firepower and application to kill it before it can kill you. It's probably a Hurricane Rambo. Or a Cyclone. I think the not much tank thing with battleships only works if you're kiting. I don't agree. I think the gank style fittings with a bit of active tank is the way to go with battleships. And the reason I think that is because I refuse to fly without warp speed upgrades. And the only real way to do a warp speed upgrades, well, I think the best way to go about warp speed upgraded ships is to run around with a little bit of tank, but mostly gank. It's definitely not a Drake Rambo. There's no fucking way it's a Drake. I've done a lot of PP in a Drake, but that can't be correct. Oh, it's bugged. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, again, I refuse to have a warp speed of 2. And there's two ways to circumvent that: rigs or implants. And another thing is convenience thing. Not only do I must have a good warp speed, but I like to go home quickly to reship. I don't like flying with implants. I think implants are pretty boring because for the amount of roaming I do, I don't typically stay near where I base my ships out of. It means that I want to have the ability to get home without spending 10 minutes flying a pod back to a station, which means I get podded. I have to get pod killed. So the only way for me to have a decent warp speed on a battleship is either have an innate good warp speed like a Nestor or a Machariel, or to have warp speed rigs. Yeah, I mean the Caracal was the only thing. Yeah, it may have been a good idea to kill the from the what I'm seeing here. It would have been a good idea to kill the Caracal first, which is surprising to me. Merlins do good damage. I was anticipating Tech 2 Fit Merlins. That was a bad call on my part. It almost worked out because I nearly killed all or neutered off all the scramble. But so it goes. Another frustrating thing about dealing with Caracals is I was getting jammed consistently. There was a Falcon on field. A cruiser-sized target would probably have the EHP to get away. I'd put a couple of volleys into it, I'd get jammed, and then it'd warp away. So shooting tankier targets when you have ECM on field, if you're not just going for ECM or you're not going for Logi or something like that, isn't, I think, the best use of my time. It was more of me just trying to get away from the Merlins and get out after I killed the Curse. That was my goal in that fight, is just to, after the Curse was dead, is just to kill, tackle, and leave. The warp speed hang-up you have is understandable, but it gimps you in fits where fights start and doesn't really save you on escape enough to have for that reason. I think you're absolutely wrong. It is not worth my time to get in the fights if it takes me twice as long to get to the fight in the first place. I get twice as much fun per hour by flying in warp speed in rigged ships. In addition to that, it allows me to evade a lot of larger gangs, like, say, cruiser gangs. I actually have almost the same warp speed as a cruiser. It allows me to be a lot more defensive as well as offensive and run things down that I would not normally have any hope of catching up with the ship, anything like that. There's actually quite a bit of utility to having better warp speed. Another thing, if you don't fly battleships often, that you probably don't realize is that when you come out of warp in a slow warp speed ship, you'll be sitting on grid for like a solid 5 seconds with a 2 AU per second warp speed ship, able to do nothing, stuck in warp while you're decelerating from warp. It has a huge impact on your ability to immediately start reacting and engaging. But yeah, like Finn's saying, the number one thing is fun per hour. I refuse to fly in a ship that's that slow. It is not fun. It is a terrible decision that CCP had with slowing down battle cruisers and battleships. They've touched on that a bit. They made warp speed rigs more viable. They've buffed the warp speed of battle cruisers. Now we need to see some warp speed buffs on battleships. Implants are actually much weaker than links. Well, there's some implants that give you benefits that you can't really get with links. But by and large, yes, absolutely. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me tonight. Kind of burned out on Eve right now. So the next stream is going to be on Friday. I might actually do a different game stream. Might actually do that. Stalker sounds like a lot of fun. I'm gonna have to check out this alpha mod for Stalker. Who was talking? Was it Reactor? Who was talking about Stalker? And the modified form of Stalker. I could probably Google it and find the modification. But if you can link that for me, that'd be great. But yeah, we might do that. I don't know. We'll see. Fridays tend to be really good days for EVE Online. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, guys, yeah, I'm gonna be off on Thursday probably. I probably won't be streaming on Thursday. I will be streaming on Friday. We will be fitting in a stream, probably sometime during the weekend, probably European Pride. We'll see how it goes. But other than that, that's going to be it for tonight. So thanks for watching. Fly Reckless, and I will see you guys soon. Later.